What if your room is not the problem? What if everything you have ever been told about making a small room feel bigger is either incomplete, slightly wrong, or missing the one thing that actually makes the difference between a room that feels cramped and a room that feels like somewhere you never want to leave? Because here's the truth that nobody in interior design talks about clearly enough. Making a room feel bigger and making a room feel cozy and luxurious are not two separate goals that pull against each other. They are the same goal, achieved by the same changes, at the same time. And those changes cost far less than you have ever been led to believe. I want to tell you about two apartments. Same city, same style of building, same size. Actually, the second one was slightly smaller when you measured properly. The first apartment felt tight and disappointing no matter what the owner tried. New cushions, bright white walls, furniture moved around repeatedly. Nothing worked. The room still felt like a small room refusing to be anything else. The second apartment felt open and warm and generous the moment you walked through the door. Guests always commented on it. People always asked what had been done in there. The difference between those two apartments was not money. It was not square meters. It was not luck or good bones or any of the things people say when they cannot explain why one space feels extraordinary and another feels ordinary. It was knowledge. Specific, simple, completely learnable knowledge about how rooms actually work and what human beings actually respond to when they walk into a space. That knowledge is exactly what this video is going to give you. By the time we finish today, you are going to understand light, color, furniture, mirrors, textiles, and clutter in a completely new way. You are going to know exactly which changes deliver the biggest results for the least effort and the smallest budget. And you're going to look at your room, whatever size it is, whatever condition it is in right now, and see possibility instead of limitation. No renovation, no designer, no budget you do not already have. Just the right knowledge applied in the right order. A few small changes, mostly just understanding how rooms actually work. That phrase, understanding how rooms actually work, is the entire foundation of today's video. Because making a room feel bigger, cozier, and more luxurious all at once is not about money. It is not about square meters or ceiling height or the number of windows you happen to have been given. It is about understanding a set of principles, visual, psychological, and deeply human principles that govern how we experience space. And once you understand those principles, you can apply them anywhere, in a studio apartment, in a box room, in a rented flat where you cannot change the walls or the floors or the fixtures, anywhere. So let us go through them together, all the way from the ceiling to the floor and everything in between. And by the time we are done, I want you to look at your room differently, not with frustration, with possibility. We are going to begin somewhere that almost nobody begins when they think about making a room feel bigger, and that is with the way you enter the room. Specifically with what happens in the first 2 seconds after you walk through the door, because those 2 seconds are everything. The brain forms its impression of a space almost instantaneously, and that first impression, spacious or cramped, welcoming or uncomfortable, beautiful or ordinary, colors the entire experience of being in the room. You can have the most thoughtfully designed interior in the world, but if the entry point into the room is cluttered, dark, or confusing, the first impression will always work against you. The entry point into any room should be as clear and open as possible. Nothing blocking the view into the space, nothing piled beside the door, no furniture positioned in a way that immediately interrupts the line of sight as you enter. You want the eye to be able to travel as far into the room as possible from the doorway, to reach the far wall or ideally beyond it through a window. Because the distance the eye can travel in that first moment is the single biggest factor in how large the room feels. A room where the eye is stopped 2 meters from the door by a piece of furniture or a wall of clutter feels small regardless of its actual dimensions. A room where the eye travels all the way to the far wall, and from there out through a window to the world beyond, feels generous regardless of how many square meters it actually contains. This is why the placement of your largest pieces of furniture matters so much more than which pieces you choose. A large sofa positioned perfectly, allowing a clear sightline from the door across and past it to the window on the far wall, will make a room feel larger than a smaller sofa positioned across that sightline and blocking the view. Think about the journey your eye takes when you walk in. Clear that journey. Give it somewhere to go. Give it distance. Now we need to talk about light, because light and space are so deeply connected in the human brain that they are almost the same thing. Every experiment in perception psychology confirms the same finding. People consistently rate brightly lit rooms as larger than identical rooms with less light, even when they are intellectually aware the rooms are the same size. Light does not just reveal space, it creates the perception of space in a way that is genuinely neurological rather than merely visual. The goal in any room you want to feel larger is to maximize the quantity of light, vary its direction, and ensure it reaches every corner rather than pooling in the center and leaving the edges in shadow. Shadowy corners are where small rooms reveal their smallness most acutely. When corners are lit, even dimly, even with a small lamp tucked into them, the eye registers the full extent of the room, and the space feels complete rather than truncated. Natural light management is the most powerful and most free tool you have. Every window in your room should be treated as a precious resource. Curtains should be hung from the very top of the wall, at ceiling height or as close to it as possible, and they should extend well beyond the window frame on each side so that when open, they reveal the entire window and allow light to flood in unimpeded. The rod should be long, the curtains should be generous, and the fabric should be as light and sheer as you can live with while maintaining the level of privacy you need. A window treated this way looks dramatically larger than it is, the ceiling looks dramatically higher than it is, and the room receives dramatically more light than it would from curtains hung in the conventional position just above the frame. For artificial light, the principle that transforms small rooms is moving light sources away from the center and toward the perimeter. Table lamps, floor lamps, wall-mounted lights, candles on shelves. Light coming from the edges of a room rather than from the center pushes the perceived boundaries outward. The room feels wider because light is touching the walls rather than flooding down from the ceiling onto the floor. Layer your light sources at different heights. Low light from a table lamp, medium light from a floor lamp, higher light from a wall fitting. This variation in height creates dimension and depth that flat overhead lighting completely destroys. Color is the subject where more misinformation exists than anywhere else in interior design, and I want to be honest with you about something from the very beginning of this section. Light colors do generally make rooms feel larger, but the way most people apply that principle, choosing a generic white and applying it to 4 walls while leaving the ceiling a different shade and the woodwork yet another, produces a room that feels pale and undefined rather than genuinely spacious. The power of light color to expand a room comes not from the color itself, but from the continuity with which it is applied. The most transformative color approach for a small room is what designers call an enveloping palette, using the same color or very closely related tones across every surface in the room, including the ceiling, the woodwork, and ideally the door. When every surface is the same color, the edges and corners and junctions that define the boundaries of the room become much less visible. The room stops looking like a box and starts looking like an atmosphere. And atmospheres, by nature, feel limitless in a way that clearly defined boxes never do. This works with light colors, and it works, perhaps even more dramatically, with deeper, richer tones. A room painted entirely in a deep, warm terracotta, or a soft forest green, or a dusty slate blue, with every surface including ceiling and woodwork treated in the same family of color, feels like stepping inside something rather than being confined by something. The boundaries disappear. The room becomes an experience rather than a measurement. And the result feels luxurious in a way that no amount of pale magnolia on 4 walls and white on the ceiling has ever achieved. If you want to start somewhere less committed, begin with your ceiling. Paint your ceiling the same color as your walls. This single change, free except for the paint you may already be using, is one of the most impactful transformations available in any room. The hard line where wall becomes ceiling disappears. The room feels taller. The space feels more continuous. And people will notice something has changed without being able to say exactly what. Furniture is where good intentions most often go wrong in small rooms, and the mistake is almost always a very understandable one. People reason that if a room is small, the furniture should also be small. More small pieces, they think, will leave more visible floor space and the room will feel more open. This reasoning is logical, and it is wrong almost every time. The truth about furniture scale in small rooms is that fewer larger pieces create a more spacious feeling than many smaller pieces at the same total volume. Here is why. Multiple small pieces of furniture create multiple separate visual events that the eye has to register and process individually. Each piece demands attention. Each piece creates a boundary. The collective effect of many small pieces is visual noise. A sense of busyness and clutter that makes a room feel crowded regardless of how much actual floor space exists between each piece. One large sofa, properly scaled, properly positioned, gives the eye one clear thing to register and then move past. The room beyond and around it feels more spacious because the furniture is not competing with itself for attention. This principle applies everywhere. One substantial piece of artwork on a wall rather than a collection of small frames. One large pendant light rather than a cluster of smaller fittings. One generous bookcase floor to ceiling rather than several smaller units at different heights. Consolidate. Commit to fewer, better choices. Give each piece room to breathe. The space around a confident, well-chosen piece of furniture reads as spacious. The space between many small competing pieces reads as cramped. Furniture with visible legs is one of the most consistently underused tools for creating spaciousness. When a sofa or chair or bed frame sits on legs and the floor continues visibly beneath it, the floor area of the room appears larger because the eye can see it extending beneath the furniture. The visual floor space of the room is effectively the entire floor, not just the uncovered portion. A sofa that sits flat on the floor creates a solid horizontal barrier that visually cuts the room. Legs allow the room to breathe beneath the furniture, and the spatial effect is significant and immediate. Mirrors are the closest thing interior design has to actual magic, and using them strategically in a small room produces results that genuinely surprise people the first time they experience them. The key word there is strategically, because a mirror placed without thought does very little beyond showing you your reflection. A mirror placed with intention can effectively double the perceived size of a room, bring in light from directions you do not have windows, and create the impression of entire rooms existing beyond walls that are actually solid. The principle behind mirror placement is simple. The mirror should reflect something that extends the room in a desirable direction. A mirror placed opposite a window reflects the sky and the light and the world outside, creating what appears to be a second window in a wall that has none. The light in the room doubles. The sense of connection to the outside doubles. The room immediately feels less enclosed. A mirror placed at the end of a narrow room or hallway reflects the room back toward itself, and the space appears to double in length. A large mirror leaned on the floor against a wall reflects both the opposite wall and the ceiling, making the room appear taller and wider simultaneously. Size is everything with mirrors. A small decorative mirror does nothing for the spatial quality of a room. A mirror that feels almost too large for the wall it is on, one that you hesitate over for a moment because it seems excessive, transforms the room. Commit to scale. The larger the mirror, the greater the spatial effect and the more dramatic the improvement in the quality of light throughout the space. Textiles and soft furnishings are where the luxury enters and where the coziness wraps itself around the spaciousness to produce the combination that makes a room feel genuinely extraordinary. The secret to making a room feel simultaneously spacious and cozy, a combination that seems contradictory until you experience it, is in choosing textiles that are rich in texture rather than busy in pattern, and layering them in a palette that is cohesive rather than varied. A large rug is the single most transformative textile investment in any room. The common mistake is choosing a rug that is too small. A small rug floating in the center of a room, with furniture legs falling off its edges, makes the room look smaller because it emphasizes the smallness of the defined zone. A large rug that extends beneath most of the furniture in the room does the opposite. It creates a unified visual plane across the floor that reads as generous and intentional and makes the entire room feel more resolved and more spacious. Cushions and throws should be chosen in a palette of no more than 3 colors, all within the same warm tonal family. The warmth is important. Cool tones and textiles make a room feel fresh but not cozy, and cozy is half of what we are after. Warm creams, soft warm grays, gentle terracottas, dusty blushes. These tones and varied textures create a room that feels like an embrace rather than a display. Linen beside velvet beside knitted wool, same palette, different textures. This is the combination that reads as quietly luxurious without requiring any budget beyond a thoughtful visit to a well-chosen homeware shop. Full-length curtains that reach from ceiling to floor, in a fabric with enough weight to hang beautifully, add more to the sense of luxury and height in a room than almost any other single element. They signal generosity. They signal intention. They make a room feel finished in a way that short curtains or blinds alone cannot replicate. If you can do one thing to a room this weekend that will make the most immediate and dramatic difference to how it feels, hang full-length curtains from ceiling height. The transformation is immediate and it is extraordinary. Clutter is the enemy of every single thing we have talked about today. And I want to close with it because it is the thing that undoes all the other good work more effectively than anything else. A room can have perfect light, perfect color, perfectly scaled furniture, a beautiful large mirror, and a generous rug. And if the surfaces are covered in accumulated objects and the floor is busy with things that do not have a proper home, the room will still feel small and overwhelming and exhausting to be in. Editing is not the same as minimalism. You do not have to live without things. You do not have to clear every surface and live in an austere white box. What you have to do is make deliberate choices about what stays and what goes, and give the things that stay enough breathing room to be seen and appreciated rather than lost in a crowd of competing objects. 3 things on a shelf, chosen deliberately and spaced generously, make a room feel curated and calm. 15 things on the same shelf make it feel like somewhere that has run out of storage. The objects themselves may be identical. It is the editing that creates the difference between a room that feels luxurious and a room that feels overwhelmed. Go through your room with honest eyes. Remove everything that does not genuinely belong there or does not genuinely bring you joy when your eyes land on it. Put what remains back carefully, with space around each piece. Stand in the doorway and look at what the eye can see and where it goes and how far it travels. If it travels far and lands on things you love, you have found it. The room that is bigger and cozier and more luxurious than it was before, not because anything changed in the walls or the ceiling or the floor, but because you learned to see the space differently, and then you made it match what you saw. If this gave you the clarity and confidence to start, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments which change you are making first. I read every single one and I always reply. See you next week with something just as good.